Have you ever uttered anything and quickly wished you could take it back? That one sentence, spoken in the heat of the moment, that altered everything. Maybe it harmed a relationship, cost you an opportunity, or made you question your own self-control. Words have power, far more than most people realize. If you remain with this message until the conclusion, you'll find something that can dramatically transform how others see you, respect you, and respond to you. The ability to manage your voice isn't just about staying out of trouble. It's about unlocking a level of influence and confidence that few ever attain. Think about it, everything in life is built on communication. Your success, your relationships, your opportunities, they all depend on how you express yourself. Words can open doors or slam them shut. They can make allies or adversaries. They can establish your reputation or destroy it in seconds. Here's the issue: most individuals don't control what they say. They let emotions take the wheel. They respond without thinking, and they suffer the consequence. It's easy to blame stress, circumstances, or even people for what comes out of our mouths. But the truth is, every word we speak is a decision. A choice that impacts how the world views us. A choice that affects whether we are perceived as strong or weak, smart or irresponsible, someone to respect or someone to trash. Here's something powerful to remember: words are permanent. You can remove a text, but you can't delete the impact of what you spoke aloud. People don't forget how you made them feel. A single sentence shouted in rage or carelessness can ring in someone's mind forever. And once the damage is done, no apology can totally erase it. But here's the good news: if words can damage, they can also build. They can inspire. They can heal. They can form friendships and open doors that last a lifetime. That's where genuine power lies, not in speaking more, but in speaking with control. Imagine this: what if, starting today, you became someone whose words genuinely carried weight? What if, instead of reacting impulsively, you talked with purpose? People would listen when you speak. They'd respect your presence. They'd trust your words, because they'd know you don't waste them. That's what occurs when you perfect your speech. So the real question is, how do you do that? How can you train yourself to manage what you say, to guarantee your words work for you, not against you? That's exactly what you're going to find. Keep going, because by the end of this, you'll have a skill that can change your life. Why we speak without thinking: most people assume they're in control of what they say. But if that were true, why do so many soon regret their words? Why do we say things we never meant, then spend hours, days, even years trying to reverse the damage? The answer is in how the brain functions. The human mind is geared for survival, not knowledge. When we're anxious, triggered, or overwhelmed with emotion, the brain doesn't stop to analyze, it reacts. It throws off words like reflexes without evaluating the long-term effects. That's the mistake. Words spoken on impulse are rarely sensible. They're driven by passion, not reason. That's why people lash out when they're upset, why they make promises they can't keep when enthusiastic, why they talk without thinking, only to regret it later. It's not that they're awful people. It's that they haven't trained their minds to pause before they speak. Here's the truth: the strongest people aren't the ones who speak the most. They're the ones who think before they do. Know that words once spoken cannot be taken back. So they wait, they observe for reacting. And in doing so, they gain power, not simply over their speech, but over how others see them. Yet for most, this kind of self-control feels out of reach, because from an early age, we're trained to voice every thought the moment it emerges. Social media, debates, regular discussion, all of it encourages immediate reaction, not thoughtful reflection. But those who master their communication know one thing: not everything requires a response. So what's the solution? If the brain is wired to react, how can you train it to pause? That's the secret to mastering self-control, and once you comprehend it, you will never speak the same way again. The damage of uncontrolled words: words aren't just sounds, they're energy. They produce waves in the minds of others, altering emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. A single sentence can lift someone up or crush them down, and once spoken, such words can't be taken back. Think about it: how many relationships have been shattered by one casual remark? How many possibilities have slipped away because of a foolish response? How many people bear scars, not from physical wounds, but from words that cut deeper than any blade? Psychology demonstrates that the human brain remembers pain more vividly than joy. People could forget what you did, but they will never forget how your words made them feel. A stinging criticism, a brutal remark, a dishonest phrase, they don't just go, they linger. They replay in someone's memory long after you've moved on. But the damage isn't merely external. It's internal too. Every word you speak programs your own mind. Constant whining reinforces a bad outlook. Gossip instructs your brain to notice defects in others instead of focusing on your own improvement. Speaking without aim reduces trust, not just from others, but within oneself. Because deep down, you know when you've said too much. You know when your words have injured someone. And over time, this develops regret and self-doubt. It reduces your ability to lead, to connect, to inspire. That's why mastering your words isn't only about avoiding conflict, it's about developing power. The kind of power that earns respect, the quality that comes from discipline, the kind that enables you master yourself in a world when most are ruled by instinct. Once you realize it, you enter a different reality where your words no longer betray you, but serve you. The science of communication and the mind, every word you speak is recorded not just by the people around you, but by your subconscious mind. It listens to everything and uses it to shape who you are. Words are more than communication, they're instructions to your brain. Psychologists have proved that repetition programs belief. If you continuously say, I'm not good enough, your brain will start to believe it. If you always talk about problems, your brain learns to focus on finding more of them. Your words build mental patterns, and those patterns affect your vision of existence. But it goes even beyond. The way you speak also affects how people treat you. People subconsciously mirror the vibe you project. Speak with confidence, and they'll regard you as strong. Speak with doubt, and they'll question your worth. Speak with negativity, and they'll separate themselves. That's why successful people are deliberate with their remarks. They don't spend them on gossip, complaints, or pointless fights. They realize that words carry weight, and that every statement either builds or breaks. Most importantly, they recognize that their words influence your own thoughts before trying to influence anyone else. So ask yourself, what type of language do you use every day? Do your words strengthen you or weaken you? Do they deliver solutions or worsen problems? The answers to these questions will explain exactly why your life is the way it is. Because the fact is simple, you alter your mind, and you alter your life. The power of silence. Most people think power comes from speaking more, dominating conversations, always having the final word. But in actuality, the strongest people aren't the ones who talk the loudest. They're the ones who know when to be silent. Silence isn't weakness, it's control, it's wisdom. It's the ability to halt when others react, to observe when others rush, to think when others speak without thought. When you master silence, you have an edge over people who are controlled by their emotions. Because here's the truth. Most people speak merely to fill the vacuum. They talk from discomfort, from uncertainty, from the need to be heard. But those who are truly secure, truly in control, don't need to prove themselves with countless words. Their presence speaks for them. Think of the folks who earn the most respect. They're not the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who make every syllable count. When they speak, people listen. Because they don't waste words. They don't speak to be heard. They speak with intention, with meaning, with power. But quiet isn't just an exterior tool, it's an inward discipline. The capacity to remain silent in moments of fury saves relationships. The capacity to hold back superfluous remarks reduces regret. The capacity to observe before reacting helps you see what others overlook. In a world that promotes constant talking, choosing silence is a sort of courage. It allows others to unveil themselves while you keep in control. It protects you from saying things you'll later regret. It builds presence, mystery, and calm authority. Here's what most people don't realize: the less you speak, the more your words mean. Emotional triggers. Why you lose control. Have you ever spoken anything in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? You weren't thinking, you were reacting. And that's the problem. Most people don't lose control of their speech because they lack brains or discipline. They lose control because emotion takes over before the mind has time to catch up. This happens because the brain is geared for survival, not logic. When you feel assaulted, insulted, or pressured, your body floods with stress chemicals, your heart rate elevates, your muscles stiffen. And before you really realize it, you're speaking, not with wisdom but with impulse. That's why rage makes you say things you don't mean, why frustration makes you snap, why stress makes you irritable. In those moments, your brain isn't thinking about the long term, it's only trying to relieve the strain now. And that's when most people fall, because in the rush to react, they give away their authority. But here's the truth: emotional control is speech control. If you can't manage your emotions, you'll never control what you say. And if you can't control what you say, your words will rule you. They'll ruin your connections, your reputation, and your capacity to command respect. The key is awareness. The moment you detect your emotions taking control, you create space between reaction and response. And in that place, you take your power back. Because the strongest people aren't those who never feel emotion, they're the ones who refuse to be dominated by it. Master this, and you master your words. Master your words, and you master your life. Your life. The 5-second rule to stop reckless speech. Most people don't think before they speak. They react. They let their emotions take control, and in just a few seconds, they say something they can't take back. But what if those few seconds may be the difference between regret and respect, between losing control and mastering yourself? This is when the 5-second rule kicks in. It's simple. Before you answer, halt and count to 5. Why? Because those 5 seconds create space between feeling and action. They allow reasoning to catch up before impulse takes over. They restrain you from saying something destructive, from reacting with anger, and from making a problem worse. Science reveals that emotions are transient. The intensity of rage, annoyance, or exhilaration dissipates within seconds. But words remain forever. What you say in an emotional state might stick in someone's thoughts for years. And once spoken, the 5-second rule forces you to recover control. It offers you the time to ask yourself, is this worth saying? Will this assist or hurt the situation? Will I regret this later? The stronger people are not the ones who talk first. They are the ones who think first. They understand that quiet, even for a few seconds, is more powerful than careless words. Here's the truth: speaking is easy, but restraint is hard. And moderation is what divides those who react from those who lead. Rewiring your brain for thoughtful speech. Your brain is like a muscle. It can be trained. It can be reshaped. And like any muscle, the more you train, the stronger it grows. So if you want to master your words, you need to practice retraining your brain to think before you speak. Most people act on impulse because they haven't established the mental habit of pausing and evaluating the consequences. They speak automatically, without recognizing that they're developing patterns of thought and conduct that will continue to drive their behaviors. The more you respond without thinking, the more it becomes second nature. But here's the excellent news: you can change it. It starts with awareness. The moment you know that you've spoken out of impulse or emotion, that's your signal to reorganize your brain. Each time you pause before answering, your brain learns to stop reacting and start thinking. With practice, your replies will become more thoughtful and more powerful. An excellent method to begin this practice is by focusing on your inner conversation. What do you tell yourself before you speak? Are you communicating with doubt, rage, or frustration? Or are you communicating with clarity, confidence, and calm? The words you speak to yourself determine how you speak to others. If your mental discussion is loaded with negativity, your external words will reflect it. But if you teach your thoughts to speak with purpose, your words will have weight. Start small. Practice pausing in everyday circumstances. Don't reply to every comment or question. Give yourself a moment to contemplate the appropriate response. Over time, you'll discover that this becomes simpler, and you'll have the capacity to regulate what you say, even in the most emotionally charged situations. Because here's the reality: the more you teach your mind to think before you speak, the more your words will become an expression of your genuine strength. And with that power, you can influence, inspire, and lead in ways that most others can only dream of. How powerful people speak differently. Have you ever noticed how some people just command attention when they speak? They don't shout, they don't argue, but when they talk, people listen. Their remarks bear weight. They transmit authority without having to force it. The secret behind this isn't luck, it's intention. Powerful people know the value of their words. They talk less but with more impact. They don't waste time with idle conversation, and superfluous complaints are avoided by individuals who recognize that words are valuable and must have a clear purpose. So what distinguishes the way powerful individuals speak? First, they talk with intention. Every word they say is well chosen. They don't speak only to fill quiet or to make themselves feel better. Instead, they say things that move the conversation ahead, encourage others, and create opportunities. Second, powerful people listen more than they speak. They understand that genuine strength comes from understanding others before expressing their own beliefs. By sincerely listening, they get insight into the needs and desires of others, which allows them to talk in ways that resonate, motivate, and impact others around them. Third, they remain calm. Emotional reactions are not their default. While some may panic or react impulsively, they stay composed. Their remarks are deliberate, and they speak only when they have something valuable to give. This self-control commands respect. Finally, powerful people speak with confidence. They don't second-guess themselves or hesitate. They trust in the power of their message, and their confidence is contagious. When they speak, people believe in them because they radiate assurance and conviction. If you wish to communicate with the same power, begin by adopting 4 habits. Speak with purpose, keep calm under pressure, and speak with confidence. Over time, you'll realize that your remarks carry the same weight as individuals who already hold the authority you respect. Here's the truth: the way you speak defines how people view you. Speak with power, and you'll develop a reputation that follows you wherever you go. The energy behind your words. Words are not just sounds, they carry energy. They have the power to uplift or divide. The energy behind your words is sometimes felt before the actual content is heard. Have you ever noticed how the energy in a room fluctuates depending on who's speaking? One individual can stroll in and brighten up the room, while another might deplete the mood with negativity. This happens because the words you speak are filled with the energy of your ideas, emotions, and mindset. Negative comments, complaints, gossip, and insults carry a weighty, exhausting force. They reduce the frequency of those around you and attract tension, fear, and conflict. Speaking negatively doesn't just affect others, it diminishes your own vitality too. The more you focus on the terrible, the more your mind is taught to see the bad, and your words mirror that negativity. On the other side, good words, words of encouragement, love, and solutions carry a whole different energy. They raise others up, encourage unity, and build bridges instead of walls. When you speak positively, your own energy rises too. The more you focus on the good, the more your mind comes to identify the good, and your words will reflect that transformation. Powerful people comprehend the electricity underlying their words. They recognize that every time they talk, they are either adding to the energy of a room or draining it. They choose to communicate in a way that uplifts, inspires, and motivates. They refuse to squander their words on negativity. This is why it's crucial to be careful of the energy you bring into interactions. Before you speak, ask yourself, what energy am I bringing to this conversation? Am I building them up or knocking them down? Am I contributing to the solution or the problem? When you start speaking with positive energy, your words will not only carry more weight, but they will also attract similar energy back to you. You'll begin to see how your words shape your reality, and the energy you bring will create the environment you wish to live in. They create the possibilities, relationships, and success you desire, because here's the truth: the energy behind your words eventually changes the world around you. Speak with positive energy, and you become a magnet for success, influence, and respect. The importance of self-discipline in speech is vital. Mastering what you say isn't simply about regulating your emotions or picking words carefully. It's about self-discipline. It's the ability to hold back when every part of you wants to speak, to pause and reflect when everything in you urges you to react. This is the true force underlying meaningful discourse. Self-discipline is the cornerstone of good communication. Without it, words flow freely but lack purpose, and emotions take over the conversation instead of reasoning. It's simple to speak when everything feels comfortable, but true control comes when you choose to speak wisely. Even under pressure, the more you practice self-discipline, the more control you gain over your voice. It's not about repressing emotions or keeping back your ideas. It's about channeling them in ways that support your broader aims. When you develop self-discipline, you gain the power to respond instead of react. You chose your words based on the desired consequence. For example, in instances of conflict, the undisciplined mind reacts with rage or irritation, saying things that aggravate the situation, but the disciplined mind waits, thinks, then speaks with clarity and serenity, turning what could be a clash into a beneficial discourse. This discipline applies to everyday situations. The more you practice pausing before speaking, whether at a meeting, a talk with a friend, or even during an argument, the more natural it becomes. Over time, it becomes your default mode. You no longer react to every stimulus. Instead, you respond with purpose and control. It's crucial to remember that self-discipline in speech isn't about being perfect. It's about having the power to choose your words wisely. It's about knowing that the quality of your speech directly affects the quality of your life. The more disciplined you are in your speech, the more you'll realize how it raises your relationships and your capacity to lead. Here's the truth: Self-discipline in speaking doesn't only improve communication, it develops respect, trust, and influence. The more disciplined you become with your words, the more power you wield. The impact of words on relationships cannot be emphasized. Words are the foundation of every connection, friends, coworkers, or strangers. How you speak influences how others see and interact with you. The words you use can either deepen your ties or create distance. Think about the relationships in your life. How many times have words, both positive and negative, had a lasting impact? Perhaps a compliment enhanced your bond with someone, or a nasty word caused a breach that took time to heal. This is the power of language. It can establish trust or ruin it in an instant. When you communicate intelligently and with respect, you indicate that you regard the other person's feelings, opinions, and presence. You listen before reacting, choosing your words with care. In exchange, people are more likely to open up to you, trust you, and treat you with the same respect. On the other side, when you speak impulsively, you create emotional distance. People remember harmful words they may forgive. Over time, the trust that once existed begins to erode, relationships get strained, misunderstandings emerge, and your influence fades. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. The tone and the intention behind your comments all matter. You speak with kindness, empathy, and clarity, creating an environment where people feel secure, heard, and respected. When people feel appreciated, they're more likely to support you, help you, and trust you. The strongest relationships are based on a foundation of purposeful communication, where you listen actively and pick words that enhance connections rather than break them down. So ask yourself, what do your words indicate about your relationships? Are you building bridges or walls? Are your words building the relationships you share, or are they creating distance? The power to impact and strengthen your relationships resides within your hands, starting with the words you use. Here's the truth: the quality of your connections is defined by the quality of your speech. Speak with love, empathy, and understanding, and watch your connections expand in ways you never thought possible. Words are a mirror of your self-respect. The way you speak to others indicates how you perceive yourself. Your words convey your level of self-esteem, self-respect, and confidence. When you speak harshly about yourself or let others speak poorly to you, it demonstrates how little regard you have for your worth. People that respect themselves don't allow contempt into their talks. They know their words carry weight, not only in the eyes of others, but in their own self-perception. When you talk with clarity and confidence, you're sending a message to yourself that you are worthwhile, deserving, and capable. You're not simply choosing phrases others will respect, but also reaffirming your own self-worth. On the other side, speaking with self-doubt or negativity subconsciously informs your mind that you aren't enough. You support the assumption that you don't deserve success, pleasure, or fulfillment. Over time, these ideas will show in your actions and influence how others treat you. Think about this. How would you speak to someone you actually respect? You'd probably speak with love, encouragement, and support, never demeaning or condemning them severely. You'd use words that encourage them, not tear them down. So why would you treat yourself any differently? The way you speak to others demonstrates how you regard them, but the way you speak to yourself reflects how you value yourself. If you want to raise your self-respect, start by choosing words that lift you up, not pull you down. Speak to yourself the way you would to a good friend, encouraging, empowering, and always with kindness. Here's the truth: the words you utter define your self-worth. If you want to enhance your self-respect, begin by modifying the way you speak. The more you speak with confidence and self-love, the more your behaviors will align with that conviction. In turn, you'll attract others who see you the same way. The connection between language and accomplishment is apparent. The road to success is often paved with the words you choose to speak, both to others and to yourself. Every success story starts with a belief, and that belief is reinforced by the words you use. Whether you're seeking for career success, personal achievement, or emotional well-being, the words you use will either move you forward or keep you back. Success doesn't happen by luck. It's a product of conscious activity, and words are a critical aspect of that action. When you communicate with purpose, you link your thoughts and actions with your goals. Every word you speak is a step toward being the person you want to be. When you speak positively about your strengths, vision, and future, you cultivate a mindset that invites success. On the flip hand, negative comments create self-doubt, complaints, and criticism, weakening your resolve and focus. Every time you focus on how hard things are, how difficult the journey is, or how much you're struggling, You reinforce the barriers in your path. When you speak, you promote the perception that success is out of reach, producing a story of struggle instead of triumph. The most successful persons recognize how powerful language is in determining their future. They speak firmly about their ambitions even when problems come. They don't focus on failures or losses because they realize that every word they speak creates the future they're working toward. They focus on solutions, not problems. They talk about potential, not restrictions. This doesn't imply avoiding obstacles or assuming things are always easy. It entails picking words that reinforce resilience and determination. It implies viewing hardships as temporary and victories as inevitable. When you talk with certainty and purpose, you send a message to your subconscious that you have the strength to overcome any challenge. Ask yourself, how do your words form your idea of success? Are you communicating in a way that reflects your potential, or are you limiting yourself with self-doubt and negativity? The words you speak today create the groundwork for the success you'll enjoy tomorrow. Speak with intention, and success will follow. Here's the truth: your words are the first step toward the achievement you seek. Speak with belief, and you'll build the future you desire. The impact of words on your health. What if we told you your words might directly affect your health? It might sound unexpected, but the language you use, both with others and with yourself, can affect your mental and even physical well-being. Research suggests that persistent negativity or self-criticism can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression. The more you speak harshly about yourself or your situation, the more your body reacts. Stress hormones flood your system, unleashing a cascade of reactions that damage your heart, immune system, and overall health. If you're continually focusing on what's wrong or whining about your situation, your body will behave as if it's in a permanent state of peril. On the flip hand, speaking positively, focusing on appreciation and choosing empowering words, can have the opposite effect. Positive speech causes the release of feel-good neurotransmitters in the brain, like dopamine and serotonin. These molecules alleviate stress, promote healing, and enhance your immune system. When you talk with optimism and hope, you literally transform how your body responds to life's problems. It's not only about what you say to others, but what you say to yourself. How do you say to yourself when you're suffering or confronting challenges? Are you your own worst critic or your best supporter? The words you use to describe your predicament can either make it worse or help you overcome it. When you say, "I can handle this," or "I'm getting stronger every day," you send powerful signals to your brain that drive resilience and growth. This is the influence of words on your health. They either build you up or break you down. When you speak with love, encouragement, and optimism, you're not just strengthening your mind, but also enhancing your physical health. Your body listens to your words, and over time, good speech will contribute to a healthier, more balanced life. So ask yourself, what do your words say about your health? Are you speaking life into your body, or are you fueling tension, anxiety, and negativity? The way you speak could be the difference between a flourishing, healthy existence and one fraught with physical and mental issues. Here's the truth: your words shape your health. Speak with optimism, and you'll establish the foundation for long-lasting well-being.